I'm a naughty, naughty boy.
We're really gonna do this?
Yes, the time has come, my friend.
All right, assume the position. Let's go.
This is Sibling Rivalry. The most hilarious book, the most successful book of the past decade.
Most successfully hilarious book.
Yes, I like that. Is finally a big screen motion picture, 50
Do
Shades
we really
of
need
Grey.
the intro? I think these people know what the hell it is.
You know what? We gotta
this.
give the bare minimum, because even I didn't 100% know what it was about.
You've read it at conventions.
I've read it as every funny cartoon character you can imagine, and it's brought so much joy to me and the people we have read it to. This novel really is a beloved treasure to lovers of smut and lovers of comedy.
And desperate housewives everywhere.
Well, I said lovers of smut. And this is a story about a college graduate.
Oh, wait, say that again. This is a story
about a college graduate who fills in for a journalistic position because the journalist couldn't find another journalist to do it, which I love. Just picks her roommate and goes in to interview the most one of the youngest and most famous...
She was an English major, so what if she hadn't graduated yet?
She goes to interview one of the youngest and most famous millionaires, Christopher Gray, so famous that nobody recognizes him wherever he goes, and apparently...
And he stalks her left and right.
Yeah, and he apparently gets
Maybe
no
he's
work
like Bruce Wayne, he's only in the shadows.
and does no work connecting to a millionaire.
We saw all the work he did on posters in the background in his office.
That's
it's something,
right,
something green energy, something.
He seems to like to walk a lot and look at his phone. That apparently equals millionaire.
Lots of walking and sitting at the piano.
Yes. Butt naked. So he comes across this this young woman named Anastasia Steele, which is just...
Yes, that is her real name.
That is the real name.
That is Christian Grey and Anastasia Steele. Anastasia Steele is the fake name for the romance author who writes something like this. It's not a name you put in a book.
It's not a very credible name, but this
Anastasia Steele's his throbbing member.
It's not a very... not a very realistic story either, because he decides he wants her, even though there's not only millions of other women, but millions of other prostitutes, whores, whatever they'll do is for free,
and
to
no
submit
chemistry.
to him. Yeah, to submit to him as... Is it pretty much sex slave or submissive, or it's pretty much the S&M thing?
He's the dom, and he wants her to be the sub in what is a vaguely BDSM as written by somebody who probably has no clue what BDSM is.
And wants the quote-unquote power exchange and all that stuff, but doesn't want to actually fall in love with her, doesn't want to do any of that. He clearly says that he's not a flowers and chocolates kind of guy, but he is a buying you a car and constantly leaving you gifts kind of guy. And you can start to see what the problem with this movie is.
It makes no sense.
It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, but while you're watching this, like you said, a lot of you probably know the story, and if you're watching this review, you don't care if it's a good movie or not. You are wondering if it's a so bad it's good movie.
And it is not.
Okay, well here's the thing. The good news is it is a bad movie. There is no doubt.
Why is that the good news?
No. Because it's not like they turned it into something that was actually successful. It's a bad movie.
Because if they had done that, that would have been one of the most amazing jobs anybody has ever done to a movie ever.
But
if they made it legitimately good.
Okay, but that's not what people watching us want to see. They want to see us so bad.
They want it to be
movie.
Hilariously awful.
But the bad news is that I don't think I've ever seen a film that had a director, actors, and cinematographer who have tried so hard to make a good film out of pretty much the worst writing you can imagine. This is the Room-style writing, but by God, it's a valiant effort. So the only real comedy, which is still a fair amount of comedy, in my opinion, is the choices that these characters make, because they are just so inconsistent and go back and forth, and not in a way of, oh, love's like that. It is clearly both these people are mentally insane, particularly him, but she's pretty batshit crazy for constantly going back and thinking she's in control when she's not. And yeah, pretty much it's still a bad film. That in terms of the smut, it is in there. In my opinion, the more erotic stuff was early on, and when it got more into like the BDSM stuff, it got less erotic. And I think part of that is because, in a strange way, in the book, everything is, oh my god, it's incredible. The narration's gone. That was 90% of the comedy right there. So if you're looking for the hilarious narration, it's not here. But in the book, everything that happens, the scenes I have read out loud, is holy crap, holy fuck, because that's how she talks. She's a very eloquent writer. My inner goddess is about to explode. He's rubbing up against my sex. Holy crap. And it's an amazing thing, but again...
See, that was more funny than anything in the movie.
But again, because I think they're trying to make a good film, they're trying to add some credibility, because the character constantly says she doesn't want to do it, yet constantly does it. So I think they're trying to make it look like, at least what I got is, yeah, I guess it's okay, but I still have major concerns about this, and I'm doing it more because, hey, I kind of like him. I never got the feeling like, really either of them were like, into it. Like, the early stuff when they're just kissing each other and just doing the regular sex, I felt much more there than when they got into the BDSM stuff.
Well, that's because I don't think they knew how really to shoot it from the approach of the characters, because when you take the narration out, then it's just like, well, I guess we'll...
The characters make no sense.
It's like a Rorschach test. You kind of get out of it just whatever you're thinking in the moment, like... Is she enjoying it? Is she not? 1 second she's getting her ass spanked and she's like, tee, this is kind of fun. And then near the end...
Well, we'll go more into the spoiler
near
corner,
the end
is a whole other universe.
Something similar happens, and then it's like a complete character reversal from what she was...
They constantly flip-flop throughout the entire thing. But like I said, everyone in this movie wants a second job. The director wants another directing job.
Yeah.
The actors want another acting job, and the cinematographer definitely wants another cinematography job, because they are trying it, but I think they know it's crap. But they can't change the writing.
No. See, this is the problem with the film. They know it's crap, but because of their egos attached, and I don't blame this director, she was picked for this film, I don't blame her if she's like, I'm not going to go out with this movie. Are you kidding me? I'm going to try to make this as good as I can. But because of that pride and ego, and maybe I can do this, it's way worse than it should have been. Like, had you just respected the fact that this is trash, it would have been great. Like, this could have been like a Paul Verhoeven film. This could have been like Basic Instinct. This could have been like The Room. But instead, it can't even be that bad that it ends up being unintentionally kind of good in an ironic way. You end up watching the film and just falling asleep. There were numerous times where I was just like checking my watch that I don't really have, but pulling out my cell phone and checking the time and being like, when is this freaking movie? Like, literally you could listen to 1,000 housewives in the screening I saw just sighing, waiting impatiently for the next sex scene. Same with the guys. All 8 guys. I was one of 8 guys in the cinema. We counted them all.
Every guy, I'm sure, did.
My wife and I counted them as they passed. I was like, look, there's one. Not a single guy there. A guy who was single. They all came with a woman.
Oh yeah, no, they're all
either
like
that, or they were following, or they picked a random woman to follow really close or sit next to pretend that they weren't there alone.
That's their beard.
But you could hear everybody during all of these so-called like normal scenes where they're trying to tell a narrative, like, take it off! Like, that's pretty much what everybody was there. The women included. Like, both the women and guys, you could just hear this impatience, like, oh, for Christ's sakes, just get naked or something. Because the film is just not funny. They removed all of the really stupid bits from the book.
It didn't
make it better. It made it worse.
No. There's plenty of stupid bits, but again, it's in what the characters are doing. And is technically in what they're saying, but again, they got good actors. Not great, but good actors that can make it sound more natural. No, because if you read these words that they say to each other, just in script form. It's still terrible dialogue. It makes no sense. But by God, they try their hardest to make it sound natural. And about 50% of the time,
Had this
I
been
think
Natalie
it works.
Portman and Hayden Christensen from the Star Wars prequels, can you imagine how great this movie would have been?
What, didn't she wear something kind of like that in episode 2? Did she have like a leather outfit?
Don't
or
look at me
something?
like that. It makes me feel uncomfortable. Can you imagine if they went full Twilight with this? Can you imagine?
You know,
The Twilight films were funnier than this.
oh yeah,
and
no,
more
no,
poorly
I
acted
totally
and-
agree. I still think if you're looking for the comedy aspect, I still very much think the choices they make are so inconsistent and so batshit insane that it is funny enough, in my opinion.
See, it's not even that.
But if you're looking for if you're looking for The Room, if you're looking for the Star Wars prequels, if you're looking for Shyamalan, pretty much, you're not gonna quite get it, except in the choices they make.
Ladies,
We're gonna speak to you,
ladies,
personally now.
if you read this book and thought it was hilarious and were just like, you know what, I just want some really fucking funny smut, don't see this movie. It's not.
You'll be bored of.
Kids, all you teenagers, including the idiot teenagers who apparently stampeded to get into this movie this past weekend, like, that's a story.
Really?
Like, literally, they were denied entrance because it's an R-rated film.
It's okay, I'm a sadist.
Yeah, and like a bunch of teens. I'm like, you've got the internet. What are you doing even paying money for this? You can find previews of shit on the internet for free. Google. I don't get it.
You know, here's the thing too, that because something I've been hearing from a lot of reviewers that I didn't get as much. I'm not gonna act like it's not there, but I didn't get as much. Is that a lot of people are saying this movie is very like anti-women and stuff like that, and to some extent, yes, but I don't feel that's like, see, in the book, it's a definite, because everything, even when she tries to resist, she's like, but he's so amazing and I'm loving this so much. In this movie, she seems to have much more resistance, or at least she acts like she has more resistance to it.
I didn't get that
and
at
even
all,
the ending.
like-
No, hold on. But I just want to say that, to me, it doesn't seem anti-women as much as anti-everybody. Nobody turns out looking good in this.
Oh, well,
and-
he's an idiot as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
if that's what we're going
nobody
for,
looks good
like,
in this.
And he struts around like he looks like a praying mantis with Chris Pratt hair. He's got the kind of Chris Pratt hair going. He's always got his arms forward, and it's always about his arms. He's got like this praying mantis thing going. And
I
there's
didn't
like
quite notice that.
There's like a scene where like he's straddling her, and he's like a gorilla. He's just like, "Urgh," like I'm not making this up. Like, so plus he's a creeper. He's a total
he's a
stalker.
pure creeper.
I don't care how rich some guy is. If I'm a woman and this guy texts me and is like, "Oh, so you're having another drink," and I turn around and he's right there looking at me, weird.
No. So here's the funny thing. Again, what I kind of semi-respect about the movie, again, in the book, if you read her saying, "Holy fuck," well, she says all the time when she's excited about something, so it must be a good thing that he's watching her. In the movie, she goes, "Holy fuck." Like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? So there is a sense that they are addressing the oddness of this, but it still
she
doesn't
clearly
add up.
gets-
It still
but she
doesn't
still
make,
clearly
she still
gets
goes
into it,
back, yes.
which means to me that her character in this movie is even crazier. That actually, by removing the narration, you made this
By making
character
her have a brain and then forget about it.
Yeah, because then she just looks like a complete fucking schizophrenic. Like, I love you, I hate you, I love you, I hate you.
No, there's, and like I said, we'll get to the ending with that a lot. But no, for me, it didn't seem like it was trying to insult a gender as much as trying to insult the English language. Like, it's not good enough to insult an entire group of people.
Listen, it's not a great book or movie for female empowerment. I get where that argument's coming from, but it's also just a work of ridiculous fiction. Like saying it's just like I'm not gonna watch this because it's demeaning towards women. That's what it is. It's porn.
Yeah, it's
you know, people are acting like this is news. Like, did you know that this is degrading to women? No shit.
I think honestly, if the male character is written, if you're like in the movie, it's just as degrading to men, in my opinion. I mean, he makes just as little sense.
But that's why this is being read, because it is just ridiculous porn. Nobody reads a line like, "Holy crap, my inner goddess was going to explode." Seriously. And if you do, The fact that you're taking that seriously, 50 Shades of Grey is the least of your worries. You've got way bigger problems, and if you can't tell fantasy from reality and that's nuts, 50 Shades of Grey is not going to be the one that breaks you, okay? You're already broken.
You're already gone. You're gone.
So this whole argument is like, I just can't, it's so degrading to women. It's like, of course it is. That's what it is. It's porn. You should feel ashamed reading it. That's the point of a guilty pleasure. Like yelling at women like, I can't believe you're reading that. Well, that's the point. It's a cheap thrill. Like, who hasn't watched stupid shit?
I gotta say, after watching, like, whatever, like a porno or something like that, I don't really come out of it being like, I feel good about men. I feel really good about
You know what?
That was very empowering to men.
I think that porno was degrading to women. Like, that's the problem. And I think this is what bothers me about the film, is the film tried to elevate itself above smut. And be like, no, we're gonna try to take this seriously and say something, and it failed. Like, it's just admit what it is. It's porn. Women are reading it because they want to, and if that's some woman's fantasy, that's why it's called fantasy. Like, it's something you can't do in real life because it's not reality. Or maybe somehow you figured out a way to do it or belong to a certain, club or something. But
if you've discovered a millionaire who's willing to treat you like this, I'd still be concerned. Well, why would you still be with this guy? He's acting so batshit crazy.
On the one hand, yes, the movie's really terrible. On the other hand, I think the big deal that some people are making about it, I'm just like, I'm sorry, it's harmless. You could make a bigger argument that Twilight is more harmful because teenagers are at least impressionable, but even then, I've seen no scientific evidence that suggests all teens came out of Twilight like, oh, this is the relationship I want. Like, it's freaking vampires and werewolves.
I know someone, I know a friend who actually likes the Twilight movies, and I asked, and she's like a grown woman. I said, well, why do you like these women? She's like, oh, I know they're awful. I just like the beefcakes. I like that. And I think...
Why do you think 50 Shades of Grey is popular? I was gonna say,
I think that's the mentality that, 50 Shades of Grey should sort of like have, not just from people who want to go see it, but from the people who made it.
The bulk of the people reading this, at least if I'm to judge by what I saw in the cinema, the bulk of the people interested in reading this are housewives somewhere between the ages of 35 and 55.
Those were the people in our theater.
Now, if you want to tell me that every single one of those housewives is batshit crazy insane and believes that this is how the world works and they're going to leave their husbands the second they get out of this to join some BDSM, like, you can try, but I'm sorry, I give most human beings more credit than that. So, if you're in the BDSM community, I get it, because it's not like, and you're just like, this is a misrepresentation of what we're all about.
Oh man, it's probably light compared to like what they do like in the BDSM. Like the hardest thing they do is that he spanks her really hard.
Well, their problem
like that's the big intense scene.
Well, but
right?
their problem is it's supposed to be like safe, consensual, this and that, and he like violates that every time, and she just bends over and takes it.
But she does too. They're both crazy.
Yeah, so I get that if you're in that specific community, but if you're just like on the periphery of just like, oh, it's degrading to women, it's porn. Like, that's...
I was trying to...
Women can watch smut too. I don't care. So long as they can separate fantasy from fiction. It's like, I've seen these things going around, people are like, I'm not going to see it because it's degrading women. This, well, you know what? I'm not going to watch Ghostbusters because it condones the stalking of a woman, gross violations of the Environmental Protection Agency, or
makes him look like the villain.
Yeah, or
even though he is kind of right in the movie.
Yeah. Or I could just watch whatever the hell I want because I realize there's this difference between fantasy and reality.
I was trying to think of a movie because we were talking about this a little bit before about like how to do kind of smut right, like know it's stupid but also make it good.
Bound. I was thinking of that.
Bound, but that stuff's very early on, and then they turn into a real thriller. The ones you named are very good, the Basic Instinct and Fatal Attraction and stuff. But no, the one I forgot about, I'm like, yeah, that was a good one. It was smut, but it was so entertaining. It was so smart. Was Wild Things. Like, that was definite smut.
Well, and again, that's a Verhoeven film.
Yeah, that's pure smut.
Because he knows,
really smart, and it's really funny and entertaining.
Because he knows it's smut. If you go in knowing it's smut from the beginning, See, that's the thing. I don't think the people behind this film, I think they knew it was smut, but I think they decided, well, we're too good for this. We can't make smut. We're going to elevate it. And it's like, you have to go in knowing this is garbage to begin with. And I think most people do. And I think that's why, like, when we walked out, the audience was just stunned into silence and kind of just groaning, because I think they all thought the same thing. Hey, we wanted garbage, and you gave us garbage, like, drizzled in, like, truffle oil or some fancy shit. What the hell is this? Like, I wanted my McDonald's, not McDonald's all, like,
with, like, caramel sauce or some fancy shit on it.
You know, with some Parmigiano Reggiano. Like, what?
With powdered gold on it.
Yeah, so if you're going into that, just... What was it? I think I said it answers the question, what would bad Twilight fan fiction porn look like if it was directed by Stanley Kubrick? Like, that's
there'd be a lot more porn in it if it was
well, there'd be a lot
Kubrick,
more porn, and we already had that. It was called Eyes Wide Shut.
Yes.
But that's what it is. It's like all you did was just it's shot very pretty. Like, there are some gorgeous shots.
No, it's beautiful.
The cinematography is amazing.
You want to know the most erotic scene to me that was both beautifully shot and just, I was like, that was
when they put their clothes back on?
Kind of. It's the scene actually we're talking about.
Doug?
No. There's a scene where he's at the piano. They just did it. And it's this beautiful shot where he's at the piano, the city is in the background, they have these long windows, it's nighttime, the city is glowing. She comes out and just lines up perfectly at the window, he's lined up perfectly at the window, and then she just walks up to him, completely naked, and just starts making out with him, and they walk off. And it's all in one shot.
See,
and
I laughed my ass off because he picks her up. Like, she's like straddling him, and he just picks her up like... Come, woman.
no, but there's no line. No, there's no lines. There's no dialogue. It's only visual, and clearly, this visually could be an interesting movie.
Okay, visually, that was a very pretty scene. At the same time, the realistic part of me is just like, they gotta be fucking freezing. It's Seattle, and it's raining outside. Come on, like, but.
No, honestly, the simple, in terms of, like, actual, like, erotic stuff, I mean, it's obvious they don't have any chemistry. I'll say they have a little bit more than Edward and Bella, but that's not saying much. Because, like I said, these two can act. I mean,
Dakota Johnson can act. She was fine. She makes Selena Kyle from Batman Returns, Michelle Pfeiffer's role like that, look like Hillary Clinton. Yeah. But because she's so like, her first scene where she just trips, like walking, and I'm like, great first impression. So
no, I actually thought they weren't phenomenal, but they were good, and so they try to get as much chemistry as they can from such terrible material. But like the stuff that was the most erotic, like I said, is honestly sort of the simplest stuff. Like, there's one scene when they were like just dabbling with it that is kind of funny, but it's kind of clever too. He's like starting to take her shirt off, and then it like stops at her eyes, and then he just stops, and it's like, that's the blindfold now, like the shirt on the arms and the eyes. I'm like, okay, that's kind of clever, like that's kind of funny, but it's also like just so simple, that
my
part.
problem
and then when
is,
you go
like,
into the room with all the whips and stuff like that, half of them they don't use. Like they never do anything
what
with
a tease! What a freaking tease!
You see this goddamn room, you're like, what the hell are they gonna do with half of this shit?
I guess that's the coming attractions for the sequels.
Yeah, no, it's like the little riding crop thing, and I'm trying to even think. Like, a paddle? Like, that's it.
This is some pretty tame softcore stuff.
Yeah.
Literally, you could just go on a Google, like, search and
you can find much worse
like,
than this.
in 2 seconds.
They try to make it look so intense and so, like, we're the hardcore.
Well, that was my problem with this.
So tame.
It was just erotic enough. Like, I felt like these were all the lead-ins to a much better sex scene that never happened.
Yeah.
Like, okay, and then he blindfolds her with the shirt, and now where does it go? And I'm like...
Yeah, it kind of stops.
I'm like
just
that,
when starting to like get into the,
and that was
here's the hardcore stuff.
And that's the only interesting shit in the movie, because once you take out the monologue, there is nothing left. It did make me realize how little actually happens in this story.
It's very
nothing.
true.
Nothing happens. Everything we found funny in the book was her like inner monologue.
Talking about, yeah.
Yeah.
No, and when we were getting close to the end, like I said, we'll do a spoiler corner of it, but when we were getting close to the end, I was feeling like, man, this movie's long, and my wife asked me, how long is this movie? And I look at my clock, and I'm like,
it's actually not that long.
No. It's about 2 hours, but
but that's not that long.
When is it gonna end? And I look at the clock, and I'm like, in 3 minutes. And we just give each other a look like, it can't be wrapping up already. Like, nothing happened.
Oh, there were audible groans.
And then when you get to the ending, I'm just like, What?
You could tell the groans too were from the people who didn't read the book. Anyone who read the book,
I didn't know how it read, or how it ended.
knew where it ended, but those that didn't, when it cuts where it does, you could just, everybody was just, oh!
Yeah, like, are you fucking serious? Like, I didn't know I'm actually kind of shy as where the book ends. I'm like, really? That's where this obviously degrading smut ends?
And it's the funny thing is that last shot is the only scene in the movie where, like, because yes, we say they can act, but they're not acting. Let's be honest here. There's no performance here that's really going to blow you away. But the final minute of that film is the only point where both of them really, I thought, were stretching it. And I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Real acting, real role reversal. What's a cut? I'm like,
Now, you know, the other thing I'll say is that when he, again, just out of character makes no sense because he says he can't get personal, but when he reveals the bits about his past, first of all, I am far more interested in that than anything that happens in the movie.
According to my wife, you learn more. She's read them all. She literally, what did she say? She called it the literary equivalent of Tommy Wiseau's The Room.
Yeah, no, I mean,
like
the books are amazing. The first book is amazing.
Somebody recommended it to her and said this is the funniest thing you'll ever read in your entire life, and she started reading it and she's like, I'm completely hooked. Like this is a train wreck. I have to know where they're going with this. But according to her, they like explain his backstory, and that was what she said. She's like, it's really the only interesting thing. Attempt at being interesting, you know.
Yeah, like that stuff I was actually kind of like interested in. And again, maybe that sort of ties into the ending too. Like, you know, when they're actually trying to really act and they actually gives them a second, you can act, you're allowed to act, even with scenes that still make no sense.
But she told me where it goes, and I'm just like, okay, so this really could have been told in one, maybe two films tops. And she's like, oh yeah. She's like, the books are just padded.
This film could have been cut in half easy.
Yeah.
So yeah, we should probably wrap up here and get to the spoiler corner.
But hey, score by Danny Elfman.
Yes.
I really wanted some, like, Pee-wee's Big Adventure music.
Oh, yeah! That'd be amazing.
maybe some mysterious Edward Scissorhands music when she's walking through the red dungeon.
Can you imagine this movie done with, like, Tim Burton characters? Like, Beetlejuice pops out of the vagina, and then Edward Scissorhands is trying to finger her. It'd be amazing.
Christian Grey shows up, like, all new, like, da-da-da-da. Like the Batman theme. Oh,
he's wearing all the leather with the nipples.
That Batmobile music. Somebody needs to make this happen on YouTube. Like just intersperse
50 Shades of Grey.
Intersperse like music from other Elfman scores into the movie.
The Beetlejuice and Pee-wee's Big Adventure would probably be best for that. That'd probably be the funniest.
That'd be awesome.
So yeah, in terms of people who would like the movie, if you're looking for a so bad it's good, I would still argue the choices they make are very funny because of how inconsistent they are.
But
some of the dialogue,
2 hours
but
and nothing happening to get to it.
You'd really have to want to be in the mood to laugh at them. It's not going to provide you with a ton of humor out of nowhere like The Room does.
I don't know who this movie was for. Because it's not for the Desperate Housewives who read the book, because I'm pretty convinced they were reading it, A, for the smut, B, because it's hilarious. Mm-hmm. You know, and this provides just bare minimum smut. It's not really that funny. You know, any kid can find better porn on the internet. Guys are going to be bored. Like, yeah, there's some nice T&A here and there, but again,
she does have a nice body. She really shocked me, actually.
Yeah,
when I saw her, I'm like, this is the one that he's going to be like, I'm drawn to you, which it never is explained why he's just drawn to her. But I was kind of like, okay, wait, you know, I mean, I'm not like, because she clearly has no personality.
No.
Know, so, you know, it's got to just be the look. I'm like, okay, whatever. But she's got a nice body. I'm not gonna lie.
You know what I feel
she cleans up real nice.
You know what I feel like this is that South Park episode with, what was it called, Backdoor Sluts 9, and he accidentally puts on Lord of the Rings. He's like, the production values on this are great, but I hate it when they try to tell too much story in my porn. You know, like that's what I was feeling. I was like, great production values, too much story, not enough smut.
Well, no, I think you nailed it, actually. Anyone looking for the book, you're going to get the bare minimum. Is what you're going to get. You're going to get that in terms of the smut. You're going to get that in terms of the smut. You're going to get that in terms of the story. You're going to get none of that in terms of the narration.
And just so we don't sound like a bunch of fucking pigs, I don't need sex to make a good movie. But if you're basically going to say, hey, here's the smuttiest book of the year,
If you're gonna say you're porn and not have the porn,
I'd better see some smut on screen.
Yeah.
And for me, there just wasn't enough. If anything, though, the smut was the only thing that would wake me up, because the rest of the attempts at storytelling, I'm like, and then all of a sudden they'd start taking their clothes off. I'm like, all right, fine, at least I got this.
yeah, I mean, it's if I think, you know, if you're gonna be smut, be smut. You know, go ahead.
It's
and
a
have fun
movie
with it.
made for nobody. I think the only person I think who would like this film is the one who would. I guess if you think it's funny enough, then you would like it ironically.
Yeah, I mean,
But I
would
think
say
part of
that-
what bothers me about the film way more than the book is that the book knew it was trash, and this, by trying to elevate it, the only person who could enjoy this is someone who would try to take it seriously.
Yeah, I say, or if you again,
And
if you're
again,
just looking
that's-
for the bare minimum, that is really all it is. You know,
Go watch better erotica. There's
there's a
erotica,
lot
there's
more.
Wave.
There's like fucking art house films.
80s,
that-
90s films were grittier. Hell, there's shit from the 70s, and like, this used to be a genre of movie.
like the sexploitation.
And this
stuff,
isn't going to bring it back. I know it's sitting at, it's 300 million. It's going to. I guarantee you the sequels are not going to do as good, because people will have learned already. Like, you'll get that dedicated fan base, but if you went into this film, like, everybody I knew left disappointed. Like, you could just hear everybody bitching about it. So I don't see people seeing the sequel like they saw this one. I think this had the surprise factor of just like, ooh, is
the
this going to be
build-up and
amazing?
stuff,
Is this
yeah.
gonna... No, it's not.
Yeah, it's actually very tame. I mean, I think for housewives that don't like know that much about this stuff, or again, part of it was the funny narration, just how
Basically
friggin'
for
long she
women
went
like the
into it.
author, I think.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. So, yeah, just kind of take that for what it's worth. A lot of people have been asking if I'm going to do like a Nostalgia Critic review of it. I think it's funny enough, personally, to do it. I think the choices they make are so mind-boggling.
Just keep your clothes on, okay?
I make no promises. So probably when it comes out, we'll make an attempt to do it. Because I still think it could be pretty funny. I'm already kind of writing it in my head. So, yeah, I think they're just batshit crazy enough, the choices they make, that I think you can get a lot of good humor out of it. So, but again, it's more from an analytical standpoint. Like, why would anybody do this? Why would anyone go back and forth?
Not bad enough for me.
So it could definitely be a lot worse, and I think it should have been a lot worse.
It could have been a lot worse, and by not doing that, it actually legitimately is worse.
But I totally understand why. I want these people to have other jobs. I don't blame you.
The people involved in this have talent, and that was the biggest sin of this movie.
Getting people who have
Yeah.
talent, yes. So that's about it. I'm slippery when wet.
I'm just gonna scoot over here now.
My inner gas is about to explode.
Ew!